Hey bakers, these days we are creating a classic French dessert, which just so occurs to be my all-time favorite. Chocolate eclairs light as air choux pastry, filled laughs with vanilla pastry cream. After which dipped in chocolate. So smooth to make, so pleasing, let's get began. Choux is one in all my all-time favorite things to make. It is so easy, it's essentially foolproof. Half a cup or 113 grams of unsalted butter. 1 cup of water, 240 milliliters. And a half a teaspoon of salt. And like a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're gonna place this over high warmth. And produce it to a rolling boil. Take this off of the heat really fast. Dump in a single cup or 120 grams of flour. And stir hard with a timber spoon. Stir until it's all integrated. And we are going to stir for like 30 to 60 seconds. There we pass. Okay, now lower back onto the warmth. And stir for another 30 seconds or so. You're going to pour this form like a ball. Hey bakers, these days we are creating a classic French dessert, which just so occurs to be my all-time favorite. Chocolate eclairs light as air choux pastry, filled laughs with vanilla pastry cream. After which dipped in chocolate. So smooth to make, so pleasing, let's get began. Choux is one in all my all-time favorite things to make. It is so easy, it's essentially foolproof. Half a cup or 113 grams of unsalted butter. 1 cup of water, 240 milliliters. And a half a teaspoon of salt. And like a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're gonna place this over high warmth. And produce it to a rolling boil. Take this off of the heat really fast. Dump in a single cup or 120 grams of flour. And stir hard with a timber spoon. Stir until it's all integrated. And we are going to stir for like 30 to 60 seconds. There we pass. Okay, now lower back onto the warmth. And stir for another 30 seconds or so. You're going to pour this form like a ball. Mix a motor whirring, egg cracks. Laughs beep. Add in one final egg like a bit at a time. Mix a motor whirring, glass clinks. And let's just see where this is at. Mix a motor whirring. Almost there, I'm gonna add the rest of it again. That's a total of 4 eggs, glass clinks. Mix a motor whirring. Okay, take a look at this. Clinging silky, falling away slowly. That's exactly what we want. Now we can transfer this to a piping bag. I have to tell you, the color is just amazing. And would I eat this raw? Yes. I've done that and I think it's delicious. I'm transferring my dough to a piping bag. Fitted with a large star tip, that's an 869. Normally I would use a round tip. But a star tip should give you a little bit more control when it's baking and have a nice puffy and prettier eclair. But both work. And I don't mind the more rustic look of a round tip. If you don't have a piping tip, just snip the tip off your pastry bag and it'll be fine. I have a little dollop of dough here. I'm just gonna, you stay there. I have a little dollop of dough here and I'm just going to paper rustles, add a smear onto the corners. Paper rustles of my baking sheet. It'll hold it in place while I pipe and do my egg wash. I don't want things moving around. I'm going to try and pipe these out nice and pretty. But if things fall apart, the egg wash fixes everything. So don't freak out, don't worry about it. Make sure to space them out a few inches apart. Cause they do get puffy in the oven. Something very satisfying about piping these out. We're going to fix those tips at the end, don't worry. Scissors snipping, laughs. You can also use a pair of scissors to cut the end off. That works too and it's not cheating. Setting aside, we have another batch left. These need an egg wash before they go into the oven. It'll make them nice and brown, a little gloss. Tablespoon of milk, 1 egg, give it a quick mix. Glass clinking, metal whirring. Here's a little tip. If things didn't go as wonderfully as you'd like during the piping and they're a little bit misshapen, you can use your egg wash to kind of sculpt things together. It'll fix a lot of the issues. You don't want any little points coming off of these, because they're definitely gonna burn. These bake at a high temperature. So, just use the egg wash to push down a little bit. And then you can gently brush the rest of the way. This one's a little fat. So, I'm gonna push it together over here. Think of it as baking Photoshop, laughs. The ridges are really gonna disappear for the most part. But they help control the spread during baking, so That's why they're there, that looks good. One more batch to go. These are going to go into the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. Then reduce the temperature to 375. And bake for an additional 20-25 minutes or so. Until they're nice and golden brown. And don't be afraid to turn these around halfway through, so that they get a nice even color. First off, the custard. It has to chill, so you got to make it first. You could even make it the day before. You're going to add in 2 cups of whole milk. And you have an option. I'm going to go the old-fashioned way. And use an actual vanilla bean. What are you like? Dirty old string that's very expensive. No vanilla beans. If you don't want to buy these because they are pricey, get vanilla bean paste. It has all the beans in it, a lot of vanilla flavor. Vanilla extract tastes almost exactly the same. So you can also just use the extract. The only thing you're going to miss are the little seeds. Alright, we're going to split this in half. Just cut down the middle. And now use your knife. And scrape out all those seeds. Throw the pod in as well. We're going to bring this just to a boil. And then take it off the heat. We want nice hot vanilla milk for this custard. Alright, and then while that's happening, while my milk is heating up, let's get to the egg yolks. Eggshell cracks, I need 6 egg yolks for this. We're gonna separate the whites out. And if you're careful about it, the whites can be used for meringue. Just pop them in the freezer for later. That just came to a boil, it's off the heat now. Metal scraping. Let the milk infuse with all the vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and... Okay, 6 egg yolks. Add 2/3 of a cup of sugar right into the bowl. Whisk until it's light and fluffy. Well, whisk until it's lighter in color. It doesn't have to be super fluffy. This is where my exercise for the day will come. See, that's lighter in color, thickened up. Methyl whirring. Wonderful. 1/4 cup of cornstarch. So I'm just going to sift as I whisk to avoid lumps. Nice and incorporated. I have my hot milk mixture. I'm going to get 1/4 cup of it. And use it to temper the egg yolk. So basically we're whisking in a small amount. To warm the mixture up. So that when we dump the rest in slowly and carefully. You don't get scrambled eggs carefully. I'm going to drizzle this in while I'm whisking vigorously. Vigorously but carefully. Now I have my hot mixture. What I'm going to do is just clean this out really quickly. And then we're going to strain it back in. Set it over heat and it's gonna be almost done. You're gonna set it over and whisk, 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 whisk. Continuously, and by the by, I'm using my French whisk, which is a narrower shape than the traditional balloon whisk. So much handier I feel for getting the corners of the pan. It just started thickening up, the bubbles are going away. And we're just going to stir really vigorously. And we're done. Okay, so off the heat, I want you to take a look. That is what you're looking for. It smells so good. So thick and lovely. So hot, laughs. Needs to go into the fridge, but of course, a custard will form a skin really quickly. Just like a pudding, so you want to cover it with plastic. Let it chill for a few hours overnight, just get it cold. So for the Eclairs chocolate glaze, I am going to chop up maybe about 5-ish ounces of a really nice dark chocolate. So I'm basically making a ganache. If you have a favorite way of making a ganache, you can let me know in the comments, I'm all ears. I have half a cup of hot cream in here. Let's just add the chocolate in. You can see it's already starting to melt. Just leave it alone for a bit. Let it hang out for a few minutes. And then when you come back you can whisk it up. It'll be nice and silky, and if it isn't, a couple bursts in the microwave will fix everything. Alright, let's check this ganache. It's been a few minutes. What? I love this part. It genuinely brings me joy. So pretty, look at this silky ganache, that's perfect. My pastry cream from yesterday that I made is all foamed up nice and cool. And because I haven't had breakfast yet, there's my favorite thing to eat that's so good, laughs. Okay, so we're gonna make a little bit of whipped cream. And by a little bit I mean 1 full cup of heavy whipped cream, and you go. And then we're going to whip it up with a couple tablespoons of sugar. Whip it up. Electric motor whirring. Beep. Electric motor slowing down. It's getting thick, I'm going to add in a splash of vanilla. Electric motor whirring. Very nice, let's take a look, perfect. Okay, choose however much you want to fold in. You could fold in a tiny little bit, a lot, it's up to you. I'm actually gonna whisk this in. It'll make it more pipeable too. Methyl worm. Okay, there we go. Now I have a pastry cream. With a little bit of whipped cream folded in. It's gonna be easier to fill my eclairs. And it's going to be so delicious. I could just eat this entire bowl. Okay, what am I going to do to fill these? The best way is to use a 230 piping tip.